So welcome to this webinar. We are talking about Libra, the Libra project. Let's see this introduction video that it's in front page of the Libra project and so what it's about.
Remember when these were fast? And these? Technology has improved the world around us. So why is it simple to send one of these anywhere in an instant, but not money? What if we made money truly global, stable, and secure? What if everyone was invited to the global Introducing Libra, a new global payment system designed for the digital world, backed by the belief that money should be fast for Ope in Lagos, simple for Saul's family business in Manila, and secure for Betsabe when sending money home to Mexico City. It's powered by blockchain, making it safe and accessible, no matter who you are or where you're from. So join us as we move towards a world where money works for everyone. This is Libra, and it's just the beginning.
So let's move to see under the hood what is Libra. So this is the developer area, the GitHub repo. We saw in another videos different protocol specification of the Libra project. So this is a video about the chain BFT that is a part of the Libra project. That it's a Libra BFT protocol. That it's a variant of the HubStuff protocol. That it's a protocol that have two protocols: the basic HubStuff and the chained BFT. So these two kind of protocol specification develop this HubStuff. So Libra BFT take the best of both worlds and make his own protocol specification. And so far we saw different things about this project. So just clone or download it, mega fork, then you have here the data. So let's to see interesting things about this protocol specification to understand the hood how this is work. And so far we saw in another videos the rotating proposal that we saw it's a liveness condition in this protocol specification. And basically it's that you have state transitions, so you need to rotate in these state transitions to understand how to deal with different layers that you have. But in this mean it's basically similar to the PBFT, that means practical Byzantine fault tolerance. And this practical Byzantine fault tolerance, it's a BFT protocol that it's divided in many phases. So these phases is to reach in the finality the commit block. So you have a pre-phase, a phase general, a commit phase, and then the finally phase that is the committed block. So in this video we are talking about the something details in this chained BFT. So let's see this persistent liveness. So let's start to the code. So put rate persistent liveness storage, have a function of t send plus sync. So this is for maintaining liveness when a node crash. We saw in another video, so let's summarize this because it's very important for understand the protocol specification of liveness. So you have a save tree, it's a self flux, so this key inserts needs to be a vector. Remember that the key inserts are the strategic for have this permissioned setting in the blockchain meaning. So remember that you have the permissionless and the permissioned. So far the permissioned is I decide what kind of node is joined to the network, and the other way is the permissionless. That means don't have permission for join to the network. So in other words, it's more decentralization. So this kind of protocol is based in Ethereum. It's very similar to the Stellar implementation. Stellar is also a blockchain that have a federated Byzantine fault tolerance. That his architecture basically is based in Ethereum also. So these Ethereums help for a better management of the network. So you need to prune this tree to have the cell condition, have the block ID of the vector of the hash value. So this needs to be a result. Then the function of save the tree. It's a self vote. Vote that it's a result. And so far the figures is for the save tree function is for persist the blocks and keyrooms into storage atomically. So remember that it's a broadcast atomical. So it's interesting way for handle the point-to-point communication. Then we have the prune tree, that it's delete the corresponding blocks and keyroom source atomically. In this way you are prune the tree, so you are connect a best thing in the network. Then persist this consensus state, that we saw that the consensus state in HubStuff is dealing with the partial asynchronous, and also has the safety rules, that are 6 rules for make a better performance in the implementation of this kind of protocol. So let's see the other function about this persistent liveness. So this persistent liveness is about to make a resilient network and have the function of be longevity in the long term. So you have this recovery data. Then you need to start this self liveness store data. So these two kind of recover for letter and the star function is for construct data that can be recovered from later, and the other one is for construct necessary data to start consensus. So far we have here 5 functions. So this is for the persistent liveness store. That is the name of this function. That is the blocks persistent I proposed but not yet committed. So it's the way for make an extra help and works under the hood like a helper that commit state is persistent via state computer. So far is to handle this in a better performance. So for start this, liveness storage, and finally forget the finality, you need to make this membership thing, membership team. So you need to time out the cert and the self of the highest time out cert. So the time out certificate is to be a result. So this is the six functions that the persistent liveness storage needs for having a good performance in the network. And so far is take a lot of time to dealing and figuring out how to get this function in the correct way. So this is still very buggy because it's still in development, but have a good performance in terms of testnet development. So far, this persistent liveness we saw in another video. So this video is about this summary of the things of the liveness. So let's see the protocol for understand under hood more interesting things. So we have here the first BFT protocol that is calling the hub stuff what measures BFT. That was the first protocol about the Libra specification. And in that time the Libra project could be maybe private because the release of the big announcement was 1 year ago in August of 2019. So this paper is 1 year, 2 years. So was BNB research that it's a hub of both distributed systems. And so far was written by incredible researchers. And right now Dalia Malkin is the head of the research development of the Libra project. And Dalia it's a scientist in distributed systems that was a long time studied this kind of distributed system. So let's see this liveness, and we are talking about the lemmas and theorems for understand under the hood the details of this liveness. So we have here that liveness requires having a infinity many labels in which 2f+1 correct replicas and correct proportion are the same level for sufficient longs to reach a decision. So we have this algorithm that encapsulates the transaction between levels via a beacon functionality, whose implementation is intentionally less unspecific, but needs to satisfy two requisites. That two requisites is the beacon triggers entry into levels and provides a proposal with the trigger. And replicas enter a level higher than their own upon receiving the beacon trigger and vote for its proposal. Their votes determine a growing committed log sequence. We saw that a level maintains a lighthouse properly in a beacon collects 2F plus 1 votes for a proposal and the level. We will say that a level maintains a longest for lives, that is calling LFL. Properly, if the beacon proposal for the level does not commit with the highest level commit certificate held by any correct replica. Liveness, it's a guarantee if infinitely often for these are two consequentially levels that are both line host and FL. So these two kind of algorithms, it's based in this proving liveness that have two kind of requisites. That is the log to reach a decision. Proposers are in the same level. So let's move to see under the hood this algorithm. We saw in another videos that the rotating processor is a way for handle these rotation levels and the measures. And remember, it's all about this number that is the 2F plus 1 for have and handle a better performance in the network. So let's see the lemmas and let's summary this rotating proposer for understand under the hood more this algorithm. So the algorithm is about this Bradshaw echo. That is a broadcast thing that Bradshaw researched a long time ago. He showed that this echo broadcast is when a leader needs to change the view and spread correct measures of the thing that the leader needs for have this leader-based Byzantine fault tolerance. So the leader base is for handle a better performance in any kind of activity that you don't expect, like Byzantine failures, crash nodes, a crash node, a node crash, I don't know, activity that the communication is not wireless, any kind of activity that in the BFT protocol are things that are you don't expect. So let's move to see this algorithm. So this is upon the measures. So you propose this. That was the primitive of the certificate with certificate levels. So this could be changed for a Kirun, and also you can find here. So the Kirun certificate was thing that was researched then of this first paper from the scratch, and figuring out a lot of things in the handle of this type of rotating process. So it was a research of a lot of years for have this kind of protocol specification. So it's an interesting thing, and it's all about for handling the personal asynchronous network in this kind of blockchain approach. So these upon measures need to propose these inputs that we saw. It's all about for handle the state transitions in the rotating process for have the condition that you need to deal the consensus, and also the principal trade-off in this kind of protocols are this kind of activity that are in a proof of stake meaning. So it's about the votes. So the 2F plus 1 votes for the level of this needs to pre-enter this kind of measures for dealing this number in the BFT protocol specification. So these cache on measures have a vote that it has two different ways of the has C and the has T. So omitted for brevity, retry missing commands are needed. Update the high CC and the high tail. So this is the thing that maybe is not working very well in the way for handle the data that you have. So then you have a statement so that it's bigger than this. So this statement make another statement for figuring out more about the measures. That, remember, it's all about the trade-off of this kind of measures. So two parts interested in this algorithm is the Braccia echo and the Braccia delivered. So in this way, you need first the Braccia echo, that is when you receive the measures and enter the thing that are you debugging in the algorithm here. For omitted for brevity, retry commands up to H and process as needed. So this is the first Braccia echo in the print enter else. So the delivery of this kind of measures enter in the way that you want. And then you have to deal with the entropy of the quantity of these 4 delta ellipses signs entering last rotation level. So far, the last finality is if a replica is a proportion for the curve level with input name C, then send this to all replicas. So this is the first from the scratch about this rotating processor. That, remember, that is a liveness condition for the BFT protocol. And you need to start thinking in the lemmas and theorems for validate this algorithm. So let's see this liveness proof of algorithm 2. So the lemma, you have different lemmas here that it's based in 3 lemmas and 1 claim. So the lemmas, the first lemma is that let G be a time after GST. GST is the global standardization time. That it's a thing that the pacemaker, that it's a kind of helper, handle this condition for have a better performance into for the distribution of the measures. So let G be a time after the global standardization time. Let Xn be a rotation level for which the first entrance into level XB when any current replica occurs after G. Then note this time for this condition that this is bigger than this. So far you have the entropy thing in the condition of the deltas. So then by T plus 2 delta, all correct replicas enter level X. So this is all about how to this property that is calling G is handle the global standardization for the levels and have the condition that you have in the correct entropy of the 2 deltas to all correct replicas enter the level that it's the way of the measures. So the proof of this is a correct replica enters a rotation level. That is the condition that you spec for the protocol specification that you are thinking. So only after the condition for make the BFT protocol resilient, enter measures for exit of these 2 plus of other are from correct replicas. Hence, at the least, they are receiving an echo by all correct replicas by the time the T plus delta. So these echoes that in another sense I'm calling in terminology the Braccia echo are received by all the correct replicas by T plus 2 delta and they enter X. So the proof you can find here that this kind of entropy will be respect for the measures that you are input here. So far this correct replica enters on the rotation level as you expect. So the algorithm is in some way theoretical correct. So you need to expect that in practice that the real world implementation, that it's the language programming that you are trying to use, it's working as you want. So let's move to the next lemma for have a better scope of these details in the liveness condition. So the lemma 4 is let G be a time after each GST. That is the same condition. So let's X be any rotation level for which the first entrance into level X by an occurred replica occurs after G. So you have the same condition. And the thing is that it's shown here. So you are make analysis, a lemma analysis for make that this can be proved in the sense for dealing with the measures. So let level L where this kind of measure you can see that is more complex than the other first thing. So you have here 3 conditions here, and you also have this entropy in the end. Then it will be one more that then expect in the next end, but you have this statement condition or this inequality condition of L will be in the middle of these two kind. So in the other first lemma you only have this, so you only add the other 3 conditions for see what is happening in this kind of condition. So let's repeat this. The let level where these kind of measures have a correct proposer, then no correct replica departs level L by expiration. So the lemma starts to thinking what happens if the level is departs by expiration. So the proof of this kind of protocol is assumed to the contrary that the correct replica R departs level L by expiration. Okay, it is the thinking of the corollary. So we already know from lemma 3 that all the correct replica enters X within a 2 delta period. Hence, the level L proposers enter level L and almost 2 delta after replica R starts at 4 entropy of this delta timer for the level. Since the proposal reach R in a delta time, replica R expires could not happen. So we can hear that doesn't matter if this period it's half of double of the time, because R constantly have a correlation that could be in a good sense very in front of the first things. So in other words, this lemma 3 was correct for the time. So if the level proportions enter in another lemma with another timer for the level, this is will respect for the replica expiration could not happen. So it's a thing for speculation that could happen. So under the hood, it's very interesting this kind of thinking in the way of understand the entropy of the deltas. So in math, the 4 delta and 2 delta, it's a double of this. So, but it's all about the levels. So if a level is very off of the first measures, so this could not happen. The expiration could not happen because they are connecting in some way. But it's only speculation that are connect. But the thing here is that this level L proposals enter level L at most 2. So this is the lower bound in a kind of condition and the upper bound. So, but you don't know this could be the upper bound. So you need another lemma. So the next lemma, trying to figure it out more levels and more kind of measures, but in some way only to see if the L, that is the level, it's bigger than the measures. So you can see here that the first lemma is trying to to figure out if this is correct proposals. Then the level proposals becomes a commit decision. So the last lemma is for see if this kind of algorithm is worth for real world implementation. So it's your last proof, because you are doing analysis of this kind of variable that you have in this mental experiment for reach the consensus. That you need a lot of expertise for thinking this way. So I am learning with you, and we are figuring out a lot of things in this kind of protocol because are so novel. So in other words, are very new. So we don't have a real implementation here. So it's still in development area. So it's interesting to see how these frontiers in the knowledge starts to having different gaps. If you see this knowledge across the timeline, you can see that the knowledge have different ways to see how to disperse this knowledge in different fields. So it's a kind of speculation of this, but it's interesting to study these kind of lemmas for figuring out a lot of things in the BFT protocols. So this final lemma, it's about the let G be at the time after EST. It's the same condition. So you change the evaluation of the measures and the thing that you need for commit decision. That it's all about this algorithm. It's the finality of this algorithm. So let G be a time after the global standardization time. Let the measures, that in this way is the extend measures, be a rotation level for which the first enters into level xn, but any correct replica occurs after G. So it's the same condition that other lemmas. And then you have the thing that you believe is will be a problem for this kind. So the levels L, the next level that have a more entropy, then the next level that is another entropy, where L is respect the same condition that the other lemma, have a correct proportions. So the proof of this it will be by lemma 4. So in the lemma 4 you have that the proposal reach R in delta time, replica expiration could not happen. So this is assumed that could be correct. So you need to start thinking in the way for other kind of levels. So no correct replica the first level by expiration. That before the level L plus 1 proposer obtain response either until has a commit certificate for the level L proposal, or until it obtains response by all correct replicas. Either way, after proposing all response, the level L plus 1 proposal carry the highest commit certificate, but any correct replica. So it's a proof very complex. So the thing is that similarly by lemma 4, no correct replica the first level but the condition of the lemma 4. So this time the proposal for level L2 is guaranteed to obtain the same condition. That this condition is have a lot of research in theory and practice way. So for the level of L proposal. So far, consequently, the level L2 proposals carry a commit certificate for the level L2 proposal, and it becomes commit with the votes for this level. So you finality of this, so you need to claim something. So in every rotation, at least one proposal becomes a commit decision. So you have all this analysis of this algorithm. So the proof of this is that among n proposers, there is at least one stress for these consecutive proposers. According with the lemma phi, this guarantee for the third proposer's command to become committed. So far we saw here this Leibniz condition, and it's based in three lemmas that are based in the things that could happen in different lemmas with different kind of complexity of the meshes, with different times of delta, and it's for having this claim that in every rotation at least one proposal become a committed decision. And so far you can see that the algorithm here, it's a good algorithm for start to thinking for having better performance in the real world scenario. So far this algorithm we saw in another videos that are based in Rust and have different things here that are very interesting in the protocol specification. So we can hear that the choose leader is based in the actor, and we saw in another video this implementation. But the lemma have a better understand of this kind of implementation. And remember that make a BFT protocol from scratch needs a lot of lemma for trying to implement one line of code. So it's a delicate building. Need to have a lot of expertise for having this building consensus in the way that you want. So see you in the next video, and we saw more interesting about other kind of implementation. So maybe in the future we can revisit this chained BFT and we'll see a chain and evolution of the knowledge and the implementation that could happen. But don't expect a different kind of implementation here. See you in the revisited chained BFT in the next month maybe. So see you.